So, Reborn.
Got it. All right. So let me do this quick synopsis on Reborn.
Oop, there we go.
All right. So Reborn. It's
So you
pretty
got, well, let's start off. We have Mark Miller, Greg Capullo, which everyone knows by now. Jonathan Glapion, I think that's his name, FCO Placencia. I don't know how to say that name. Hope I said that right. But one of the big names on there.
I butcher names worse than you do.
One of the big names for me is always Greg Capullo. Awesome. Mark Miller's also very well known. The other two, I know I've heard them somewhere. I just can't recall off the top of my head. All right, shoot off. What is Reborn, and what first drew you into the comic?
The fewest words possible. As actually, what we heard from this is if you don't look at the cover arts and whatnot, the best source of information is always the comic book store guy itself. And Mike, our supplier, always has the inside knowledge of what could be the best things to pick up. So that's one of the reasons why we picked up Reborn. And what drew me in was the concept of what happens after you die. And apparently for our main character, it's you get transported to a mythical land where dragons, and apparently you are the main character in this afterlife where, hey, you die, congratulations, now you're the one.
Yeah,
welcome and try to save us.
So in issue 1, so Reborn wasn't a group effort. This was one that I heard about. I saw it, and Mike, our local comic book store owner and very awesome, knowledgeable comic book guy, he has his own podcast and whatnot. He told us, like, oh, this looks pretty good. It's a story about this person who dies and comes back, or rather tends to have like a second life. But in this land or whatever, when they get reborn, they come as these sort of not superheroes, but these sort of heroes of the land. So the issue starts off with this very old lady thinking back on her life, thinking back on all of her memories that she's had with her loved ones and her family.
Be real. It starts off with someone getting sniped out.
Yeah, it's
that's the very first page. It's like, hey, drinking coffee, bullet through mouth. That was the very first page of this comic.
Yeah, so it starts off strong with that. It starts off strong. And like I said, it is, it's a story about this lady, and she ends up dying eventually due to old age. And she's transported to this land, but in this land, she doesn't look like herself. And she's kind of getting to grips like, oh, what am I doing? Why am I in this body? Why do I look so young? And this sort of war starts embroiling around her, and she sees a bunch of faces, and she doesn't readily recognize the faces because they're not the faces of people she knew, but she somehow still feels like she knows them. Like she sees these people completely strange. Some of them are even like beasts or, whatever and what have you. And she still recognizes them as, oh, this was my dog when I was 4. Oh, this is my son. I believe one of the characters is her father. This was one of my best friends. But obviously they're not who they were in her past life or maybe her real life. They're someone completely different. And they were waiting for her all this time to kind of start this, start
prophecy.
This issue off.
It's pretty much,
start like this prophecy.
It's like the first or second issue, you're like, oh, she's the MacGuffin of this world.
Yeah, she's the important person that they've been waiting for to come and rescue her. See, so I've only gone through issue 1 because I'm really bad when it comes to backlogging on my books. But like I said, I originally liked the concept that if you grew old, you had all experiences in your life and you died, that something else happened to you. I thought it was really cool. The cover art drew to me. I really liked that style. And so that was my initial, like, oh, I wanted to read this, because I have to admit I'm a big cover art guy. In fact, I have, 12 or 13 issues of Omega Men. I have not read one issue because I'm missing issue number 2. And the first thing that drew me to that line was I really liked the cover art. So I'm total cover art whore when it comes to that.
Yeah, similar here. Like I got the alternate art, which is
it's someone with the dragon.
Yeah, he's 1v1ing a dragon, and it actually happens like in the cover. He actually 1v1s a dragon.
Yeah, I have the other one where it's her in the white and she's just staring off into the kind of like into this beam. I own that one, and that's the one I have on the screen now.
Cover,
yeah. So I've got like that, the solo cover, but still, it's really cool. It's very awesome. And like you say, you see there's technology going on in this world, but at the same time, it's sort of techno fantasy.
It feels like when you were a kid and you had all your action figures lined up on like the floor, and you decided to like just play war with all these action figures. It didn't make sense why a Power Ranger and like a Stormtrooper would be fighting each other, but you did it anyway.
Yeah, and then somehow a dinosaur creeps in and some
And then you
goblins.
have and then your sister comes in with her Barbie and starts trampling you, and it's like that's how the first issue feels. Like with the first, she comes in and there's a large battle, and it's like, all right, goblins, got it. It's gonna be medieval fantasy. Why is there a spaceship?
Yeah, and
Why is there now there's a lich
it's just
dragon?
like a hovercraft or something. Yeah, it's a little all over the place.
Like
Maybe
why is
she's
my king
just
carrying an axe and a laser pistol? I'm like,
going through her consciousness or something. So really interesting read. I immediately liked it. I just haven't had a chance to read the second and third issue, but they are also really cool covers.
I will
Uh,
tell you what I like about since I did read ahead. What I like about the series is at the end of every issue, there's just something that makes you go, wait, what the fuck? I need to read the next issue.
there's a good cliffhanger. That's what
It
you could
was like
say.
a straight cliffhanger that you just have to go scratch your head. I'm like,
Hmm.
what? Because apparently this entire afterlife is, as you read it, it's basically all revolves around her and the people that she's seen in her life. And you're like, so we have an afterlife that everyone's trapped in based off her, which it's like that's kind of like it's kind of like a weird concept. It's like, hey, if I died, do I get my own afterlife? No, you get to live in this world and wait for the main hero of the story. I'm like,
You live in
okay.
someone else's afterlife.
Yeah, you're like it feels like everyone's living in someone else's life. Like either I'm hoping this is just her personal one, and then these are just other stuff. But it feels like, nah, you died. Now you're gonna live in this world and wait for main hero number one to show up. And then it's like, okay,
Gotcha. Yeah, it's like I remember when you first picked it up because I sort of introduced it first, and then you ended up picking up like a ton of them, and then next week you came in, and you're like, man, it leaves you in so many what the fuck moments, and I was
like
like, all right, I guess I really got to pick
yeah,
up
but
it.
like issue two, like it was up to 4 issues, and I'm like, and I didn't think I'd have any more surprises. And then by issue four, I was just like staring at him like,
More
you kidding
surprises,
me?
more surprises. Cool. All right, so I will can't wait to read this some more. Like I said, you got some big names attached to it. By Image, no surprise. And all right, let's go on to the next one.